Yes, I'm going to talk about some of the things we're doing with live streaming, specifically with live streaming and meeting new people. By way of intro, I'm Geoff Cook, CEO of the company. I also co-founded the company back in 2005. A little bit on my background. In 1997, I started a company at college, sold that in 2002, worked a couple of years for the acquirer, and then started an early social network called My Yearbook back in 2005. The company, the app Meet Me, which is one of our bigger apps, is essentially the successor of My Yearbook. Today we remain focused on helping people meet new people through a variety of means. In recent years, the last 3 years, that's largely meant innovation with respect to live streaming. Our apps reach 15 million monthly users, 4.5 million daily active users. And we do about 200 million a year in revenue the last 12 months and 37 plus million in EBITDA. We've been working on this live streaming video platform, and I'll show you some of that for the last 3 years. And as part of that, we look to acquire a number of different apps that more or less do similar things to what Meet Me did, helping you meet new people. We acquired Lavu, a large German dating app, also European dating app, Tagged, an African-American meeting app, Scout, kind of a long-tail international rest of world traffic meeting dating app, and Growler most recently in 2019, a gay dating application, relatively small. And so all of these apps, they all have something in common. They're all about helping people meet new people. And now they have something else in common, which is live streaming video. So, live has been the fastest growing product in our history. Actually, the idea for it originally came out of China. So I was spending some time in China in 2016, meeting with companies like Momo, seeing what YY was doing. And I thought that idea actually had a lot of merit for Western audiences. At the time, there was a lot of pushback on that from people, like this concept of live broadcasting, giving gifts to streamers. It's some kind of a Chinese phenomenon. It's not gonna translate. We built it in any event, and we could see how it has translated. Live video revenues up 150% in just the last year, from 8.5 million in Q2 to 21 million in Q2 the following year. On every app where we launched it, and now it's on 4 apps, it accounts for anywhere between 1/3 to 1/2 the revenue in the first 12 to 24 months. So there's this tremendous revenue impact. And that revenue, of course, is coming from tremendous engagement. There's about 900,000 viewers every day, over 100,000 broadcasters every day, tens of millions of minutes spent in video every day. And we believe, as you can see on this chart here, that we could double that from where we are right now, at least, without even acquiring any new apps. So I'll give you a sense of what the live streaming product looks like, but before I do, the important thing is to realize what are users getting out of this. So in every dating and meeting app, you can think of, Tinder, Bumble, things of this nature, Lavu, users are sending chats back and forth to each other. And at least on our apps, they're sending 75 million chats a day. And in that context, there's always going to be lulls in the product where you're not receiving enough chats, or you've sent chats to everyone that you're going to send a chat to. And at those moments, the user can either leave the app, they came to the app to not feel lonely, but now suddenly they're lonely again. Or they can, they can go to some other app or do something else. But what we found is that live streaming video provides this instant feeling of connection, and at the same time provides a sense of entertainment. So people are obviously coming to you to meet and date, to feel less lonely, and live video kind of fits in well with that. This is an example of live video. It's actually an example of our battles feature, which allows 2 streamers to communicate, and it's a time-bound contest. You're going to see a gift be given And you see streamers actually pay attention. Ultimately, the way to think about GIFs in this live streaming context, we've likened ourselves in the past to the mobile version of the bar or the coffee house, a casual gathering place. We think about GIFs as almost like the drink in the bar, the way you get attention from a particular person.
When?
It's been a night over here. What's up, guys? Season 4 comes out in October. Oh, okay.
What? Season 4 what?
Riverdale.
Never heard of that.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good show. Oh! Oh!
Jim B! That was amazing. Thank you so much.
Hi, Billy. Thank you, Jim. Y'all, if you haven't already, hit Jim B with that favorite, please.
Facts.
If you wanted attention and reaction, you can see that you essentially got it. We've found that live streaming has been complementary to the product. It hasn't cannibalized existing metrics of either subscription rates or chat. Instead, what it has done is take a subset of users, 25% in some apps, and we believe that will go up per day, roughly half if you look at it on a per month basis, and converts them to video users and gets an extra about 20 minutes a day out of those 25% of users. And what's more is at that time, that extra 20 minutes a day is monetized at a much higher rate than if they were just in the core chat product. And you can see revenue per video hour versus revenue per non-video hour on this chart. But the point is really across the apps, and Lavu would actually show the same similar information. It just monetizes at a tremendously higher rate. And the user is getting something out of this gift that they're giving. They're getting attention and status. So as I look at the dating landscape today, we see a mix of apps that offer utility or provide entertainment. On the left, you'll see apps like Parship, eHarmony, Tinder, Grindr, and on the bottom right, on the entertainment vector, what you might think of, YouTube, Netflix. Now, when a user is downloading one of our apps like Lavu, they want to meet new people, interact, and feel connected. They're not just here for entertainment. YouTube is not going to do it for that user. But the point I want to make is that utility and entertainment are not, they're two distinct. They're not two distinct parts of the same product. They're not. I use this feature for the utility and this feature for the entertainment. And it's important to remember in the dating context, utility is making a meaningful connection, either finding a date, meeting someone, finding a significant relationship, or even just a meaningful chat partner. But utility and entertainment combine best when it's two different facets of the same product. And if you haven't already read it, there's a pretty influential essay called Status as a Service by Eugene Wei, WEI, and it suggests that there's another vector here, the kind of three-dimensional vector for status, and that every app should really maximize its utility to the user, its entertainment for the user, and also it generate feelings of status to the user. And I think it's an interesting way and one in which we think about our own service. And you can see that we're really trying to stake out an entertainment, bring entertainment to dating, entertainment and utility. So, the future for us is all about blending utility and entertainment. I'm going to show kind of an early version of an interesting new dating feature that we're launching. It's basically a live streaming dating game, very lightweight, very, we believe, easy to blend into our existing audience. But one of the surveys we ran before I show that is, we did find a significant number of our users want to chat and meet through a dating game. So would you be interested in a video speed dating game where you could easily play a dating game to find a date? Yes, many people said I'd stream. Yes, I'd watch, and no, of course. And what's interesting about that is that a good number of people were both kind of interested in streaming to meet a date, and then also interested in simply watching others kind of date. And if you're familiar with shows like The Bachelor and others, that may not be that surprising. And then if you ask the question, if you met someone interesting via the speed dating game, would you consider meeting them in real life? And virtually everyone says yes to that question. Now, what we like about a dating game concept is it really blends utility and entertainment, right? Because if you go at it just from the utility standpoint, I'm just going to build a speed date game. I'm just going to connect two people and hope that they find some utility. You're going to be leaving out probably the vast majority of your audience who doesn't want to stream. And so the question is, how do you combine these concepts? Here you'll see a couple screens. I'll show you a quick demo. Our expectation is this will begin launching in kind of an experiment form in October. Viewers will be able to queue up and join the line to date a streamer. It's kind of, think of it as gamified speed dating, where everyone can be the star of their own dating show.
So we are going to be trying out a new feature today because, you know, your girl is single, she needs to find love. So let's get into it. I think I just press the heart. I'm going to need your guys' help.
So there's prompts on the bottom, so she can keep the conversation going. There's hundreds of prompts. And she can choose next or date. And others are watching, so that she could have as many as hundreds of people or thousands of people watching. You can set filters as you'd expect, age, gender, location. As showing a filter change. Now, this is the broadcaster experience. The viewer can vote on what they think of the guest. They can only vote up, but you can see if basically the audience is into a particular guest. Now, the point of a date is that once you make a date, you can then find the user again in the My Date section, and you also unlock one-on-one permission with that user. So this is showing kind of that process, and this does not have an audience. But we're excited about that launch, and the point of our launching a feature like this is to drive more of our dating users, which is by far our largest segment of users, into the video experience. Another thing that's on our drawing board that we're working on is group video. So, we see group video as potentially enabling us to go beyond dating. Ultimately, we want to connect you to meet new people, whether you're there for dating or not. Many people do meet in groups, and the trick for us is creating topical groups, full of people who might matter to you. Here you can see that network effects matter in live video. So we've now acquired a number of different apps. Scout and Meet Me are probably the most similar. They're all fairly similar, but Scout and Meet Me have very similar audiences. We combined the audience in live video behind the scenes on a particular day. And when we did that, so that is, at first, Scout users could only see other Scout users, and Meet Me users only other Meet Me users. And then on one day, we said, okay, now everything's combined. And on that day, Scout revenue jumped 60%. The core insight, of course, is that network effects matter. There's more broadcasters, there's more talent, there's more viewers, and that scale is very much important to live video. That insight that scale matters so much to live video led us to create a product to make it easy to enable live video for any app. So we've now spent tens of millions of dollars on the technology, the moderation team. We have hundreds of people moderation, the talent management. We have dozens of people bringing in talent from other streaming networks like Instagram and so forth. And the point of this is to be able to make it very drop-in to enable video for any number of apps, whether they're in dating, social, or anything else. And we see this as a potentially interesting way to grow the network scale of the product. So, what about Europe? We did get this question, like at first it was, well, it won't work in the US because this is a Chinese thing that doesn't translate. And then it was, well, okay, fine, but it's certainly not going to work in Germany. And we even saw some resistance from the Lavu team. Lavu team is very talented, built a great product, but never really thought of it as a live video product. And so we saw here that there was a little bit of resistance around things that you'd expect. Is moderation challenges going to be? Are they going to be insurmountable? Are users really just here to date, and this video thing is going to somehow hurt what they're doing? Is it going to cannibalize subscriptions? Lavu has many different languages, whereas our other apps are largely English language. How is that going to work in the context of video? And then a year later, video is 30% of the revenue and the fastest growing product in the history of Lavu, without any subscription cannibalization. And what's more is it had that same effect, everywhere we've launched it so far. So, what we're finding is that it really does play. In fact, it's so strong that we're seeing some of the early Lavu countries where we launched video first, like Switzerland and Austria, have higher per user monetization in video than the United States. So from our perspective, it is clearly translating. And so much so that now, of course, the team is excited to extend beyond that to potentially building almost reimagining television, building out shows and topics and allowing kind of topical group conversations as well as kind of interactive television programming. And we're ideating on a number of different concepts, from kind of a flirting dating show to kind of a quiz show with one of our larger talents, to kind of singing sessions. So kind of this interactive group or this interactive television. And you can see some of those concepts there. So one of the issues that we do face everywhere that we run live video, including in Europe, is educating streamers. It's not necessarily straightforward. It takes some education for someone to become especially a monetizable streamer. How to retain supporters, how to turn viewers into followers. So we've now started holding these sessions, most recently in Barcelona, I think last weekend, to really teach the art and science of streaming. And after these sessions, we find that we see tremendous improvement in live streamer earnings for people who attended the event. So you could see 100% plus or 40% plus gains in the amount of earnings after in the week following the event. Now, being a live streaming platform, you can imagine that we face and care deeply about issues of safety and moderation. And we position ourselves at the forefront when it comes to content standards and user safety. Actually, in just the last few months, we've adopted a number of what we believe at least are industry-leading safety initiatives, including the most prominent buttons for reporting abuse, an ongoing safety education pledge, and the highest standards of content moderation. We are moderating content through a combination of hundreds of human moderators, as well as essentially real-time analysis of virtually every stream through algorithmic review. We now devote actually more than half of our total workforce to moderation, and we're monitoring essentially every stream. And then when we find a problematic piece of content, it depends, of course, on what the level of the issue is, depending on the penalty. But we have this escalating strike system that might ban you for a day the first time, 7 days the next time, and tells you exactly what it is what policy was violated. We also work with the Online Dating Association, where we sit on the board, among others, including, I believe, EuropeanMatch.com is there, and with respect to the Family Online Safety Institute, where we sit on the board along with Facebook, Amazon, Twitter, and others. We've been working to really, we've been investing in safety so heavily, in part because we really see dating and live video as a mainstream activity, And we think that you have to have just a high standards of content in order to pull that off. And also because we want to video enable other apps. So for the same reason, we feel like that's important. Just a couple things, and if there are any questions, I'm going to open it up for some questions. But you could see some of the positive comments we received in just the last couple of months from the ODA. We view the Meet group as one of the leaders in the space, investing millions of dollars annually to keep its users safe, and some others. So hopefully there's some questions. If not, that's a way to find me. Any questions?
Geoff, do you have any offerings that are asynchronous that aren't live?
Yeah. So actually, that's the core offering. So 75 million chats are being sent a day. And when I say chats, I mean like a traditional dating experience where you might mutually swipe, find someone to unlock chat with, and then engage in one back and forth asynchronous chat. But that's in text, not video. And that's in text, not video. We do have now a one-on-one video solution that's started to roll out to our apps. Two of the 5 have it now. We expect, we'll probably have it across all the apps eventually. That's also been fairly interesting.